Welcome back to the channel. I'm Professor Will, your Director of Training here at Centurion Holdings, and today we're going to give you just a short video on using range while you're training on your heavy bag. Check it out. So first, let's define what I'm talking about when I say range on the heavy bag. What we see happen with the amateur fighters, first-time martial arts people that are beginning, even people that have had some substantial experience but not had the correct training, is they'll get up on the bag and they stand right here and they start punching and they start kicking, and to be honest with you, you're too close. Or they stand right here and they're doing the wrong things while they're trying to hit the bag, and we get a lot of arm punching and things that aren't really effective training. So we have to look at the differences and the different types of ranges we use when we're working on a heavy bag. The first one we're going to look at is the outside distance. At this distance, I can't kick the bag, I can't punch the bag. This is a safe area in which my partner can't kick or punch me either. So if you're working with somebody who's significantly taller, that outside range has to be adjusted for their reach, not your reach. The problem with this outside range is that to engage, I've got to step in and close distance so it can telegraph my intent to attack. Also means my opponent has to step in, but I have to understand that and be aware of that I've got to move forward, or I've got to move in a diagonal. I've got to make some type of movement that's going to close this gap at least a step to put me into that kick range. That's the outside range. It's safe, but I can't really attack from it. So the second range we're going to look at is the kick range. From this kick range, I can hit this bag with a foot jab, I can hit my round kicks, we can get kicks to the head, etc., but I can't really punch the bag. That keeps me in this longer range. Again, if we're having to deal with somebody who's significantly taller, that kick range is going to be set on their distance for the kick, not on mine. So at this kick range, I should be able to hit the bag. If you're standing out here to kick range and you can successfully punch the bag really well, you're too close. Take a half step back. So the third range we talked about is right here in punching distance. And the key to the punch distance is to hit this jab, and the bag should not move a whole lot. That's what the cross is for. If I can jab the bag and get big movement out of the bag like this, you're too close. You're not really in punch range at that point. You're in elbow range. Okay? So I need to stay where I get just enough on the bag. That one makes contact, but this one isn't really killing it. That's our punch range. So the fourth range we work is this close range. Bad breath range, elbows and knees. I'm in contact. Now, on these other ranges, I can hit him, but I can't grab. Now we're at a point where I can get hands-on, he can get hands-on, and we have to really work all of this defensive and offensive tools that are close. One of the things I want you to understand is that just because I'm in elbow range doesn't mean the elbow is the only thing I hit with. I should be able to still throw full power shots from this range here, in this close range. So we're talking about this close range on the heavy bag. I put the gloves on so I can hit a little bit. Whole point of this video isn't to teach you how to hit with power, but I'm just trying to get you to understand that if I hit correctly, I still hit hard even at a close distance. A lot of times we can tell when people arm punch because they might hit hard out here, but if you don't turn the hips, you don't get much power when you punch on the inside. So we'll see these guys that arm punch don't really turn their hips, and when they hit close, and they'll tell you, I don't like that close quarters. Well, yeah, because you're punching like this. And you're not really hitting the bag hard. You're not hitting the opponent that you're trying to get off of you hard. So when I hit this, I'm going to turn the hips and let the hips do the work. And I can hit straight in punches, short overhand punches, rapid fire it, and keep turning the hips in this close quarters range, along with my elbows, along with my knees, along with inside kicks, the other kicks that we use, etc. But the key is to keep the body mechanics the same so that as I hit the bag, I'm still getting that good power shot, which translates when we're sparring, translates when you fight, translates when you're having to defend yourself. And all of that is good training on this heavy bag range, understanding that range. The other thing to remember, no matter which one of these ranges we're working, whether we're at this outside range, whether we're in kick range, we're in punch range, or we're in extreme or we're in close range, always remember to keep your defense correct. It's easy to get on this bag and start punching. And in no time that I keep my face protected, there's no head movement in here, no footwork. All of that is important to remember, and these are things we see disappear. Lots of guys get good footwork out here. We see lots of practitioners moving. They're solid out here. They might even keep the hands up when they're punching out here. That's great. And then they get onto the bag, and it's, even if it's correct with the body punch and the body work, and their hands are nowhere around the face. And that's where you get hit and you get knocked out, and you get hurt really bad. So remember when I'm doing this, that I keep my hands up and I keep the body work in. I'm still slipping. I'm still bobbing and weaving as I hit with correct form on the back. Keep the defense involved. Super important at these close ranges. So now I want to introduce you to what I call the final range when you're dealing with heavy bag work. You can find this particular range in just about any home gym, martial arts gym, where there are heavy bags. If not, you can actually create it yourself. And this range was actually the inspiration for this entire video, because I was working on this and I had a student look at me and say, "Man, what are you doing in that spot?" And I said, "You've got to work this extreme close quarter spot to learn how to throw your elbows and your knees, learn how to throw your power punches in that close, tucked in, tight space that I call no man's land." And it's right here. It's this space that exists between my wall and my heavy bag. You can find this just about everywhere there's a heavy bag hung. There's always a spot that's somewhere close to the wall. Even ones that hang from the ceiling, from a chain and a pipe, or however tall your ceiling may be and what your arrangement may be, there's almost always a spot that's closer to the wall. If it's not, you're dealing with a specific kickboxing gym that has bags everywhere, and they got lots of space around for the people that kick because that's what they're catering to. Wonderful, great. You can have somebody stand there with pads and create this position for you. Those big kick shields are probably the best part for it, because they can hold on to those and stand up against you and create a backstop to keep you from being able to move too much. But if you see, even in the extreme, even in the close quarters spot where I'm here and my head's on the bag, there's still lots of room for me to twist and move and get my power shots in here. When you're stuck in no man's land, there's not a lot of space to move, period. I can simulate getting my overhooks, I can simulate underhooks, I can simulate clinches. We can have all kinds of work that I can do from here. But learning to hit from here with short punches that do a lot of work and hit my opponent, and again, keeping in mind having to have some type of head movement. I don't care what type you prefer, whether you prefer the 3-tier approach, whether you want to do your peekaboo, I don't care. Figure it out, play with it, because it's certain, I always tell you this, as certain you have one you don't like, that's the one you're going to be stuck doing when the stuff hits the fan, because nothing else will present itself. So make sure you know them all. So I keep working. I can use my shoulder to push this bag off, give me just a little bit of space, and I'm in here working. And this is an important place because I can still hit with my elbow. I can still work my knees from here, knees to the thigh, curved knees all up into the ribs. These things are all still here. If you look at a bag, almost like a box, you've got one side, two side, three side, four side, and everybody wants to work at their different ranges, at the kick range. They want to work at the punch range. They want to work at close quarters, but nobody wants to get back here. We look at this and say, this spot doesn't really exist. That spot does exist, and it has an excellent spot for me to learn to work inside these close confines, use this no man's land, and work the body, work head punches, turning the hips. I can work my hand movement while I do this, okay? And we can keep these things in line so that I'm learning to use that extreme close quarters here in this no man's land. And again, like I said, if your bag is out in the middle of the floor, you're using one of the roll-up bags that we have out here, you can always have somebody stand behind you with a set of pads. Those kick shields are best, and they can keep that pressure on your back to keep you pushed into the bag and at least simulate that same feeling that you're getting here in this no man's land, that I can't really get as much movement. I have to depend more on my head movement, and I have to learn to turn the body to really get those shots in there. All right, so just to give you a quick recap and an overview of what we talked about today, we talked about these different ranges. I work this outside range where I can't hit my opponent can't hit me. That's important to understand because I need to be able to look at it. I need to step back, I need to relax my shoulders, I need to take a breath. I don't want to do that in a spot where he can hit me. So this is an important range to understand that, hey, I'm safe and we're good and all the world is wonderful and bright right now. But I also have to understand that in a minute, I've got to close this, whether I do it offensively, whether I do it defensively. We've got videos on that on the channel you can check out. I've got to be able to cross this in a minute, and I understand that. We move out into this kick range, and I understand that I can get good kicks in here. I can work my kicks, I can work the middle, I can work high, I can work low, I can work all kinds of oblique kicks, I can work side kicks, I can work front kicks. I don't care what kind of kick you want to throw. Train doing those kicks and understand that if I can start punching this bag from here, I'm not really in kick range. I need to move back just a little bit. Then I can take that half step forward, and now I'm in my punch range, and I'm hitting. And again, if I can hit this bag with a jab, and I get serious movement out of it, you're way too close. Pepper that jab on it, and kill it with the cross, kill it with the hooks, kill it with the uppercuts. That's cool, but make sure we understand this distance as well. Because, and these can add, my kicks can run into this distance too. The beauty of the Thai kick is it's not just, it's more of a mid-range kick than it is a long-range kick like the teep or the side kick. So I can throw all of that in here as well. We've got the close range where now we're working on these clinch positions. I'm throwing my knees, I'm throwing my elbows. Again, I'm throwing kicks. We're working that range and understand that none of these ranges does my defense move. The closer I get, the more important all of this becomes to keep that in there. And then remember to work that no man's land and that spot between the bag where I'm stuck in close. I can't move. I can simulate this just on my own by staying really close to the bag, but without anything behind me. Just out of habit, we tend to move back and create space so that we can really throw stuff. So it's best if you have somebody with a set of pads or the kick shield, whatever, that kind of keep that pressure forward and make you stay right against this bag to work in that no man's land. And again, always understanding the closer I get, the more head movement, the more my defense has to be involved, the more I have to simulate and understand swimming over hooks, swinging under hooks, getting my clinch, getting body locks, whatever I'm going to work on, whether I'm working on a particular fight, whether I'm working on self-defense skills. All of this is important to keep simulating while I'm on the bag. It's more than just something to punch and kick. So understanding these ranges is super important. If you keep them in the forefront of your mind, you stay cognizant of that range issue as you're working the bag, it starts to become second nature. It's easy to translate that when you start sparring. To look at it and know that I'm at the right spot, I can throw a kick. I'm at the right spot, I can throw punches and kicks. I'm at the right spot, and now I can throw elbows, punches, kicks, knees. And then I'm so close to him that everything's got to be fast and hard, and I should be able to work these ranges and know where I'm at subconsciously so that I'm not having to think, okay, I'm in punch range, and you've got punched in the face. So work these ranges when you work a heavy bag. Enjoy it. Check us out on all your favorite social media platforms. You can contact us at Centurion Holdings LLC at gmail.com. You can check us out at Centurion Holdings LLC at gmail.net. You can check out the QR code right there, and we'll see you next time.